So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
Welcome to the Big and Small Podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Marit Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one.
Nice. Couple of weeks until our meditation event. What do you think?
Well, it's next week.
Yep, there you go. That's why I have her. She tells me what's up.
So, yes.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like one of those wind-up toys. You know, they wind me up and they put me in front of Marit and she aims me and lets me go.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well,
next weekend.
Yes.
Not coming. Not this
not
is
the first
today.
coming.
It's Friday, so not tomorrow, but next weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You know, we're going to talk a lot about the inner search, the inner process, rewiring your brain with meditation. I had a friend named Charles Matkin. He was one of the first really well-funded yoga teachers in all of Manhattan because he had some of the best, biggest CEOs coming to him because it was a secret. You know, 20 years ago, it was a secret. Meditation was a thing that, you know, woo-woo, you know, people ching, 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 and there with incense and, you know, some weird back room. They didn't have yoga pants at that point.
No. They didn't have pants.
They didn't. Yeah, right. They were walking around in loincloths and such.
Yes.
The whole point is that CEOs, the top performance people in the world, are always after what can give them the 5% edge, the 2% edge, the 1% edge, right? You know, Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world. Richest man in the world, has been one of the best investors in the world because he's been doing it a long time. That's number one. But number two is he's satisfied with a percent here, a percent there, 2% there. But over time, that adds up, right? You know, it grows exponentially over time because you have maybe 1,000 different investments giving you 1%. Mm-hmm. That's really good. And, you know, if you get 10 or 15%, that's a great, right? Well, when it comes to your performance, it's all about getting 1% better everywhere, 2% better everywhere. And then the different areas of your life start to dynamically interact and give you an exponential result. Meditation. So Charles Matkin was teaching people what I'm going to be teaching, just one of the techniques that I'm going to be teaching this weekend for $8,000 an hour. $8,000 an hour to learn these techniques. And why? Because it was worth it.
Oh, it's well worth it.
Rewires the brain.
For some reason, we think if it's going to be worth it, it has... I don't know what it's going to be, but... like, you can... A sentence can be the thing that changed your life.
Yes.
And make you a millionaire or make you successful or make you just relax at home or whatever it is.
Yeah. But
that could be a sentence. But for some reason, we're not willing to pay for that sentence, many of us. We think, well, I will not pay like $8,000 for an hour. Are you kidding me?
In those days, that was a car.
Yeah. And you freaking kidding? No, I'm not going to do that. But because if I'm going to pay $8,000, I'm going to be wooed.
Yeah.
you're going to drive me up in a limo and you're going to serve me and treat me right. And then I'm going to have like a weekend course and then I may pay $8,000.
Yeah, these guys were like, okay, they land in his office, sit down. They're like, okay, you have this thing you're going to show me. My friend got really great results from it. I don't want to chit chat. I don't have time. They're like, okay, we said an hour. I have 53 minutes. Go.
Yeah.
That's the way these guys work. They work literally 21 hours a day and sleep the rest. And that's all they want to do. They love being the best in the world at what they do. And they will do exactly, not more, and not less, exactly what they need to do to get a result. And this guy became super, super famous and super, I mean, people just needed him. Okay. So what is it all about? If you change your body 1%, maybe nothing changes. But if you change your perception 1%, everything changes. Everything. Meditation rewires your brain. Have you ever heard of the marshmallow research? I know. We already talked about this today. I know what the answer is, guys.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Okay.
And also before we talked about it today.
Yeah. Well, what they did is they of course.
But it's because I'm very good at it.
Yes.
I'm very good at postponed gratification.
Yes, postponed gratification. Basically, they took children of Stanford University faculty families, and they put them in a room. They're like 4 years old. And they're all 4 years old, actually. And they put them in a room with a marshmallow, and the teacher, authority figure, researcher would say, you know what, little Joey, if you want to eat the marshmallow, it's yours. I have to go out, and I'll come back in, and then if you haven't eaten it, I'll give you 2 marshmallows, right? Mm-hmm. And it was very interesting because they watched the behavior of the kids. Now, the researcher would go out for 12 minutes. Now, when you're 4 years old,
that's forever.
Yeah, like 12 minutes is a lifetime and a half. Mm-hmm. That's like, you're like, that's like 25% of my whole lifetime, man. Time goes so slow, and you're sitting there, and some kids would just, as soon as the person would go out the door, they would snag that marshmallow, eat it, and they'd just start doing something else. They'd run around, they'd, do whatever. And then you'd have the people who would like try to entertain themselves. They would escape. They would escape the temptation. They knew that they could get something good, so they'd just run over in a corner and try to dance, or
turn their back to it.
Turn it back to it. Some would smell
play with it.
They could play with it. It was as long as the lady came back in and bam, put it back on the table, they were safe and they got 2, right? And then you had some that could just sit there and wait.
That's me.
Right? You could just sit there and wait.
Waiting for number 2 to arrive.
Right? Now, what you don't always appreciate about research is that you, first of all, got to see human coping strategies, right? How do I deal with the pressure? How do I deal with the experience of being tempted, right? And then on the other side of it, 30 years later, they catch up to all these kids because the Ivy League schools, I mean, you come from an Ivy League, you're a special person. Mm. Like, and you say, oh, what, you think only smart people who are academically educated are special? No, you're special because you belong to a certain club, the Stanford Club. And usually you're an alumnus, so they actually have contact with you. Same thing with Harvard. They're really good at keeping contact with the people who go to the school there. And they do all kinds of long-term research on them. Right? So I can tell you about some more research later. But this is interesting because, interestingly enough, the people who could just sit there and wait, that was like the smallest, but the group that had the most patience, like you yourself, MTG.
Yeah, my issue is that I will wait for number 3 to arrive, even though the 3rd wasn't promised.
Yeah, right.
That's my issue.
Maybe that's an issue. That's also an issue. But
then you don't get any gratification.
Like, yeah, no gratification.
I want number 3.
No.
But I need to save the 2 first ones. I need to save the first 2.
And I try.
So I can eat number 3.
And I try.
That's how it works.
And I try.
You're just an idiot.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, I understand. I get you. But anyway, this 3rd category.
This angry kid just, where's number 3?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm not eating these marshmallows.
I need to have 2 in my pockets. Give me number 3.
Right. And interestingly enough, the 2 groups of kids that were able to either wait and just look or distract themselves, they were the ones that had the best jobs, the best home life. They had the least drug addiction problems. They had, all of the impulse control things that you would imagine. They had their economy in order. Their health was pretty good. And their IQ was actually on average higher. MTG, my favorite philosopher.
So yeah, I don't think I have. Yeah, I haven't tried.
Yeah,
I'm terrified.
No, but
I can open a door. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, right? Open the doors to your soul.
Oh, yeah, they are so not that fun.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
marshmallows.
Now, and then you have the people who had no impulse control that basically snagged that thing as fast as the lady went out the door. Those guys,
we
of
all
course,
know,
had.
and we know about those people.
Yeah, we know. You know, in your group of friends who this person was.
Okay, do this. Take your group of friends. Figure out who's the postponed gratificator, who's the marshmallow snagger.
Mm-hmm. Marshmallow snaggers.
And try to figure out who you are as well, because you don't judge people.
Yeah, we're not about judging,
no.
but understanding them. Yes. So, anyway, they had much more drug addiction. They had much more confusion in their life. They had a lot more making and breaking of things. And in general, a lot more chaos. Okay? Now, to say what's better and worse, of course, probably postponing your gratification is going to be better on average, right? And that was pretty clear in this research. But here's the interesting thing. Who do you think had most mental, emotional, and physical stability?
It's a podcast, shouldn't be quiet for that long. I want to say one or two.
Postpone the gratification.
Yeah, what about the middle group? That was a trick question.
Yeah, right.
Because you never mentioned the first and
I tried to trick you. I can't trick Mara. Anyway, but the reason why they had more mental, emotional, and physical stability, the people who could postpone the gratification, was that was all about being tempted and coming back to what you want. Being tempted and coming back to what you want. Okay? And you're going to understand why I'm talking about this in a minute. Anytime somebody makes you angry, do you stay angry forever? Or do you sometimes come back to yourself and kind of get on with it?
No comment.
Right? Yeah. Forgiveness. Nope. Don't make Marit angry.
I'm drinking my tea.
Okay. You know, and then sometimes you of course, Marit with Neil, doesn't need to deal with
No, and actually never been like, we have this term in Norwegian, langsint.
Yeah. Being long angry.
Long angry.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get furious.
Holding a grudge.
No, I don't have time for.
What a word, grudge.
You don't have time to hold grudges. You can just decide to not invite them to participate in your life.
That's it, because our lives are participation only events. That's it. So anyway, understanding that once you get knocked off your center, how fast do you come back? How do you recenter yourself? Do you have a technique? Do you even notice the fact that you have ability to recover? Or do you feel you're a 100% victim for your thoughts, 100% victim for your emotions, 100% victim for what's happening in your body? Or do you have an ability to change your focus and bring yourself back and keep moving forward? Of course you do. The question is it a conscious thing or not? And the more you repeat that recentering, the better you get at it. You actually rewire your brain. Okay? Now, are you ready for some big words?
Yes.
Okay.
Capital letters.
Woot woot. Prefrontal cortex.
That's in your brain.
That's right. Very good. That's it. It's a very front of your brain.
I've had anatomy exams 4 times.
Yeah, there you go.
You should get that one.
That's what it's like. That's what I'm saying. So prefrontal cortex is the modern portion of your brain. So you have the reptilian brain, you have the limbic system, which is more of a mammalian or, monkey brain, it's your emotional centers and all that. And the prefrontal cortex is where you do all of your higher thinking, but it's also where you have your perception of the world. So people who are like ultra super duper positive, they have lots of activity on the left side of their prefrontal cortex. And people who are super duper not positive, they're super duper like the whole world's out to get them, the sky's going to fall. And, like,
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
No, I'm not looking at you. I was actually looking at the anatomy chart over there.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, when it's all the way over to the right, then you have a little bit of a dark highlighter on things, So it turns out that what you feed grows. So we practice doing certain things. You are emotionally powerful and magnetic, and therefore spread the emotions that you have to yourself, your own brain. You create those pathways, but you also spread it to other people. So if you take a very positive, outward-looking, loving person and you sit them next to the worst grudge-holding, dark storm cloud, you will actually start to see a change in their brain waves. You can see that. So hanging around with your best buddies, marshmallow snaggers or not, that are positive and feel good about life is actually really healthy for you, because you actually build that area on the left side of your prefrontal cortex to be positive. Now, here's the thing. Is that positive person positive all the time?
No.
Of course not. No human only has one side. But what happens is that their default fallback, their center, is constantly what? The left side of their prefrontal cortex, not the right side.
Mm.
Okay? So it's about not so much avoiding getting knocked off your center, but it's about coming back. Okay? Research shows this. Now, I'm trying to explain to you why you basically would have paid Charles Matkin $8,000 to learn this technique. Okay? Anytime that you're a performance person, do you have a high level of challenge or a low level of challenge in your life?
High.
Yeah, very high. You're a performance person, aren't you, Marit?
Yeah.
Yeah, in every possible category of her life, she's a performance person. So she has a very high level of demand, a high level of expectation, a high level of performance, a high level of challenge, and a high level of basically being able to come back to recenter and rebalance. Agree or don't agree?
I agree.
Yes. Yes, you do. Because that's what you do all the time, right? Whether it's on the mat, in the weight room, whether it's, planning meals and eating, and whether it's dealing with, social stuff, whether it's working in the office, making podcasts, dealing with video editing, all this stuff that you do so well. Now, here's the interesting thing. Weirdly enough, you don't have to have the drama in order to reset yourself. If you sit down and meditate, what's going to happen is you're going to get pulled out of your meditation. And what are you then going to do?
You're going to come back.
You come back to the meditation and you get pulled out. And what happens?
You're going to come back to it.
And you come back to it, right? And over, every time you do this, you get better at recentering yourself, regardless of situation. You have a very efficient way of building the recentering. The refractory period goes down. The recentering time takes less and less time with every cycle, every time you get pulled out of your meditation. And you're like, well, pulled out how? Well, when you center yourself with a meditation technique and a thought comes up, do you get angry at the thought? Do you get sad because you're having thoughts? Do you get frustrated because you're not in samadhi? Are you looking at something that, little Joey did to your car when you were 5 minutes away from paying it off and he scratched it up for you or something like that? Are you upset because your mind took you there? Or are you just going to effortlessly relax it and come back to your meditation? Right? That's what you do.
Mm.
So every time you come back, you get a rep. That is actually meditation. Being in that spot of perfect peace and silence, that's satori or samadhi. And that feeling can grow over time when your refractory period is quite short, right? So how would you describe my refractory period in my life?
That's a really big word, refractory.
Yeah. How long does it take me to recenter?
I never see you have to recenter. Well, that's not, but 2 seconds?
Yeah, exactly.
Depends. I think the longest I've seen is half an hour, but that was like... That was like a bomb. But like from losing a world championship to everyday life, it's like a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not about...
You still have the... I can still... I know you so well now, so I know you. I can see, and I think I see it more than most people. Mm-hmm. Most people don't think would say that you have any. Mm-hmm. But knowing you, I see that sometimes it takes some time because you still have to digest it and work through it. But you are present right away. Like it takes 5 seconds, and then you digest it and work through it, but you're still not thrown off by it.
Exactly, and that's exactly right. And
because it's not I don't just want to say it's not like a for me at least, it's not like a cure in that way that you don't, or then I don't have to feel or do or work through stuff, but you just don't get, hopefully not as cray doing it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the whole point is it's not about not feeling your life. In fact, it's about being able to feel more of your life and process it and go to the next feeling level, right? And always come back. So there's an old story about one of the founders of Aikido. And this guy saw the master throwing, people around. At one point, in order to get the highest rank in Aikido, you had to be able to defend yourself against 100 people, right? It's crazy. So he's like throwing people around like crazy. And this student came up to him afterwards and says, I just don't understand. And he says, what don't you understand? And he said, you're never off balance. You're never off balance. You're always in perfect balance no matter what happens. And he says, no, I'm not always on balance. I just recover from being out of balance faster than you. So it looks like I have balance all the time, but I'm also constantly readjusting myself back to center. Right? And that's the point, that it's a constant small recalibration in the moment more than anything else. And it's, again, not about the hiding. It's not about not feeling, or it's about being able to function even though.
I think without meditation, I think the clinic would have been half the size it is today.
True.
Because that would not be very pleasant in reception.
Oh.
Going through what I have been going through and I'm working on. But I breathe consciously, and when I walk down the stairs.
Yeah.
From, for instance, the break room to the reception.
Yeah.
Because then I become aware of what's important right in front of me. And then you are very present and really focus on not leaking out on the patient.
Yeah, that's it.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's it. There's a standard. There's a standard, right?
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, exactly. And
just it's not you said that. I've set that standard for myself. I refuse to do that to the patient because they need help, and I need to serve them so we can help them as good as we can.
That's it.
That's the job.
We serve people. That's what we do. That's the whole point.
But meditation helps with that. When you have losses in your family, or you have drama in your family, or you have a shitty day, or whatever it is, that everyday meditation is gold. And then I really enjoy the meditation in groups, because that's what you do then. Because I don't take time. I'm too busy. I'm working. I'm having too much I want to do to reach my goals.
Yes.
But it's kind of like a group session.
Yeah.
For training.
Yep.
If you're gonna do to a step class or spinning class, you're gonna spin for an hour.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna meditate for an hour, and that's what I'm gonna do. And when you then also have someone in charge that's leading it, you can really let go more.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the point. Then you can rest.
It's kind of, you're taking a train, and the train is 2 hours, and you're really tired. But your train ride is 2 hours, but the train will go for 3. So are you going to fall asleep and risk not waking up? Or if you have, can you ask someone to wake you up?
Yeah.
So if I meditate alone, I'm always afraid that I will miss my stop.
Yeah, exactly. I understand. Yeah.
I kind of, but when you go for a group session, no, I'm on the train. I have 2 hours here.
Somebody else has responsibility. Let them.
The conductor the instructor in this case will wake me up when I need to get going. I have nothing else to think about. That's the job. Sit on the train for 2 hours.
Let it go.
So I think that's why I really enjoy the group ones, because you can really let go into it, because you don't have any responsibility for the surroundings.
That's it.
Well, if you meditate at home, I really enjoy that as well. But then I often don't go as deep or as long because I have other stuff that I feel I need to get to.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Or everyday life, I use more the working meditations.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm really looking forward to the weekend, because then it's a weekend of it.
That's it. And you are a very powerful meditator. You know, one of the first times that we meditated together, you had like a beyond space-time experience with that.
And that was interesting.
You going to talk about that, or?
I don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's, we had a conversation, and then we meditated, and when I came, I think it was like in 50 minutes, and I had been gone for hours.
Yeah. Basically,
and I just
time
said
dilation.
and I can't remember what I said to you. It was just something happened. I have no, I don't know, but and then you tried to explain it, and then you, what's it phrase? You know everything until you try to explain it, and then you know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also know that where you went, because
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Because when you can explain that place, you know people that's been there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, exactly.
words cannot describe it.
No, but you know that they know.
Yeah, and it was very clear. It wasn't, did I go? Didn't I? What happened? It was like, no, I was gone for multiple hours.
Yeah. Yeah. You transcended time and space. The meditation lasted for 15 minutes, but you were gone for
somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the
Yeah.
And those I don't get if I'm if I'm alone. But I also think it's because I don't allow myself to go as deep, because I'm constantly going forward. So that's why, again, I really enjoy the
group
or the sessions where that's what you're gonna do now.
Yeah. And this is actually an interesting thing. Have you ever heard of the super radiance effect?
No. Actually, something I haven't heard about.
Ooh, gonna drop some knowledge. All right, super radiance effect. Now, you know who the Beatles are, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the Beatles, they made a lot of amazing songs. One of them was about their experience with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and you can see a lot of really cool pictures of them, you know, Maharishi hanging out with the Beatles. And Maharishi means great seer. A rishi is a person who sees. Maha means great seer. So he was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and Mahesh is his name, Yogi, you know, he's a yogi. Mm-hmm. So he brought transcendental meditation to the West. And he was actually educated as a physicist. So he's quite smart. Quite educated, and he was following his guru and learned transcendental meditation and wanted to bring it to the West, and he did. So a lot of the great artists and a lot of the great musicians from the 60s and 70s were doing meditation and drugs, but many of them went over to meditation, and they picked up transcendental meditation, and that was probably one of the biggest meditation groups in America during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they did a lot of research. They got a lot of really smart people from Harvard and Stanford doing meditation research. And they did over 600 independent studies on meditation that showed it improved everything from your cardiovascular health. It even increased your IQ by a few points, but it was definite. It was significant. So, and IQ is one of those things that you basically are born with. Okay. So it's really very difficult to change that on people with anything, but meditation does that for you, again, because you're restructuring your brain.
Opening it up.
You're opening it up, right? And recalibrating it. If you can refocus, your refractory time smaller, you can recenter yourself faster, you can learn more. It's just what it is. Okay. And you're fresher and you can perceive more. Because every time you get knocked away from your center, you're dealing with what you're being knocked away with, your anger, your fear, your thoughts of your past trauma, all that. And then you're back in your center, and then you're going to be as precise as you could be again. So the super radiance effect was basically, they found that if you got more meditators together and you actually took electroencephalographs, EEGs of their brains, that meditating with other strong meditators, your brain waves would change. and change much more and much faster. You would also have a very strange effect that if you had the square root of 1% of the population meditating, then you would have a drop in crime rate. You would have a drop in all kinds of horrible accidents. It's kind of like COVID. When COVID hit, nobody got sick, right? Mm-hmm. And also, where did all the terrorists go during COVID? Mm-hmm. Ever notice that there was no terrorism? They got COVID, right? But you understand, like, suddenly people are meditating, and for some reason, people are behaving better. Now, you're like, but that's impossible, Jason. There's research, hardcore research, super radiance effect. Okay, so
and if you've actually been, and you don't have to go to yoga pants meditation, if you try it with someone that is you trust and that is a good meditator, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah,
it's a different experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, I don't know, it's like peace syrup. It's crazy.
What pea syrup?
Peace as in. Peace, my brother. Peace.
Oh yeah, peace. Not
peaceful
not
syrup.
The green ones.
No, not peas.
Not peas.
Not
peas.
Peas. Not like bubble and squeak. We're not talking about the round green
not
ones.
war type.
No. Yeah. The opposite of
war.
Yeah, it's war and chaos. Peace.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dalai Lama peace.
Okay, because I was thinking
not
peace,
like peas and rice.
Like, what? Where is he going with this one? No, peace, not war.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that
it.
One.
Peace syrup. It's insane. It's intense. And then you have also a concrete change in your brain's wavelengths. You have alpha and beta, and you have theta, and then you have gamma, right? So beta is more like attention. I'm awake. I'm ready to go. Alpha is more your normal higher thinking. Theta is what kids run around in. Did you know that kids are mostly in a hypnotic state almost all the time?
That actually no.
That's kind of fun, right? So before they're at the age of 6, they basically just are swamps.
Yeah, that's why if you get a kid between 1 and 6, they catch up so much stuff.
Yeah.
That those are important years to pay attention to what inputs they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah, yes, thank you. I said swamp, which is the Norwegian swamp, the Norwegian word for sponge. But they download all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So they're in a hypnotic state. So if you put an idea with an emotion and an action in front of a kid like that, it'll stick in their brain. So please be kind. Don't go over to your brother or sister's house and start programming their kids to do all kinds of weird stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah. But a thought with emotion, intense emotion, and then an action, and that stuff goes right into their subconscious and it comes out whenever, right? So theta is a normal meditative state for people who just start meditating. And you're like, well, that's kind of weird. I don't want to be like brain controlled. No. You are the one that's in there with your theta state. And
you're doing it with yourself.
You're doing it with yourself, and you can imprint things that you want on your subconscious. And also, interestingly enough, when you're in that state, a lot of the unconscious trash starts to disappear. As you're thinking, we talked about, coming back as the thoughts come up. Well, these thoughts and incidences come up and you become aware of them and they start to disappear. If they're not useful for you, they'll disappear as you meditate. So people call that, unstressing. For example, you get rid of all the junk that you've accumulated in your subconscious and you feel freer. And that's why a lot of people have health benefits from meditation. But here you go. Gamma is something completely different. It is a super coherence of your brain. You go into massive coherence in all the lobes of your brain. And I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza event, and they have EEGs there. And they measure you while everybody's meditating, right? And me and my dad got hooked up there, and both of us have, of course, been meditating our whole lives. So when we go into a meditative state, we have absolutely positively the maximum of gamma. We have the highest rated gamma waves that they've measured.
That's very cool. It's
very fun. And that's the interesting thing. So the meditation is a reset, but here's the trick. Here's the little trick. First of all, you have to meditate enough to get to theta. Then you have to meditate enough to deserve the upgrade to gamma which you almost get for free when you're meditating with people who have gamma waves, by the way. But then you have to realize that your life is more than just sitting and meditating. Can you take that state with you outside into the world? Can you reintegrate yourself into society with that gamma always running in the background? And when you see that refractory state for me, I now transitioned my meditative state into my waking state, because you have waking, dreaming, and sleeping states, deep sleep. So can you bring that coherence into all of those phases in your life? And if you can, then you don't have to sit and meditate anymore. You like to meditate. I like to sit and meditate, but I don't need to anymore because I have that with me integrated. And that's one of those processes that we have in the integrated human. Marit and I, MTG, my favorite modern philosopher, are breaking a move out into society and helping people find that for themselves, because we want people to recover quickly. We want them to have their emotional resources ready, and we want them to be physically healthy, because we need all the good people to function, because a revolution's coming. It's going to be an inner evolution that creates the outer revolution, where we detach ourselves from the need for all the drama and we move society forward in a happy, healthy way. More and more every day. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
She's very excited.
Very. I am very excited.
Yeah,
I am
know.
very excited.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that I find very interesting with meditation, because if you, again, had asked me 5 years ago if I wanted to meditate, I would say, fuck no.
Hells to no.
Like coming right up from the army and being all about discipline and very structured, and meditation for me at that point were yoga pants people.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I mean with yoga pants people, go back to season 1 and look at the name for the podcast. One is called Yoga Pants. Listen to that when you understand what I mean.
Yoga pants, sex, and car crashes?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
But that was basically crazy ass people smoking stuff or sitting in rocks and just humming and not doing anything in their life, and being a doer like I am. You kind of get provoked.
Yeah.
Until I actually figure out what it was or could be.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm big fan.
Mm.
And that's my thought is, like you said, bringing it out to other people.
Yeah.
And changing is it right now, the narrative?
The narrative.
Nice. Almost. Yeah. Of it, because it's it can help so many, and it can look so much different from what people think it is.
Yeah.
And how far, I don't care. Just do it.
That's it.
Just do it.
That's it. Just do it.
Copying Nike here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a well, it's most like it's a copyright thing, but just do it anyways. Nice. And the event now, before we round up, I can say the event now is fully booked. Yeah. But we have a waiting list for this one, so we are preparing to launch a new one. Yeah. We're just looking at some dates and details. So hopefully within next week sometime, we're going to release a new event. That's it. We're just trying to figure out where to take it. So if you follow us on Facebook, or just visit our website on integrated-human.com, it will pop up there. Awesome. And the last event sold out pretty fast. It's limited spots. So if you want to sign up, just sign up. That's it. Yeah. You have to get on it, because we have a lot of motivated people and we want you there. So come on. Yeah. But again, if you missed this one, it's going to come a new one in not too long. To just follow. Before Easter, I think. Before Easter, apparently. We'll see. Follow us. We'll come back to you when it is. But it's going to be within not too long. So sign up when it shows up. Marta's going to wind me up, point me in a direction, and let me go. So we see if it's before Easter or after. Since I know what's happening other parts in our life. Anyways. Thank you for listening. So, remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself,
by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.